So Xiaomi's back with the 15T series and we're going to dive deeper into the Pro iteration. And right off the bat, this is not your all singing and dancing device. This is a mid-range device, but it's packing a lot of punch for what it offers. And it's reasonably priced as well. Let's start with the design. Design-wise, it's very basic, you know. It's just a usual phone slab with a camera bump on the back there with this chrome chamfered edges that will scratch very easily unless you look after it very well. Put it in a case. Xiaomi still has that Leica collaboration, hence the Leica logo that we've got there as well. So when it comes to the camera capability, you will get some Leica color science being used here. But having said that though, it's rounded corners, makes it very comfortable in hand. And this isn't heavy at all. It's very lightweight and it's IP68 certified for water and dust resistant. There are a few compromises here and there to perhaps keep the cost down. For example, the peak brightness is lower than the predecessor, so that's something to bear in mind. And we're talking 3,200 nits, which is down from 4,000 nits that we had before in terms of the output. And the front is finished in mid-range Corning Gorilla Glass 7i, whilst the back has this anti-fingerprint texture, which is not so anti-fingerprint, sorry, it's just that you see it less than, you know, you only see it really in different angles, but this is a fiberglass finishing, which is kind of cool. For the display, we get 6.83 inch 12-bit AMOLED display, and this is larger than last year as well. This is 1.5K resolution. It's got dynamic refresh rate up to 144 Hz, which is also 447 PPI here, and 480 Hz touch sampling rate. To be honest, it all looks very good whatever you do with it, but you only notice this in terms of the difference or how good or bad it is when you put it next to the predecessors from the likes of Pixel or Nothing phone. But that is not to say that this is not more than already good enough for watching movies or gaming on the go, whatever you want to do with it basically. I would have loved to have a full LTPO technology here though, where it drops to as little as 1 Hz to save battery life where possible. But that's just because I'm used to the spoils of using other devices that's capable of doing so already. The software runs very smoothly as well, although you do get a lot of apps that's been pre-installed on there already in some of these folders that you do have to get rid of if you want to. Some of them you can remove, some of them you can't. But some apps like this that's been pre-installed, if you don't want to use AliExpress or WPS Office, you can remove those kind of apps very, very easily. But aside of that, the software runs smoothly, and depending on who you are or who you ask, it does everything you need to do in the settings or navigating the app. But if you're someone who's quite techy, you might have to download a few apps to be able to achieve certain things or certain settings. But if you're just someone who just wants to use the phone as it is, then it's more than capable. It's got everything that you need to get started. All that said, I think the camera department is where they've doubled down on actually making this a really good device for the price point. It doesn't disappoint at all, as long as you're not shooting beyond the optical zoom range. It has a 50 megapixel main camera, which is a Leica Vario Summilux at f1.62 with Live Fusion 900 image sensor. You have 50 megapixel telephoto at f3.0 aperture, and then you have 12 megapixel ultra wide at f2.2. On the front, we have 32 megapixel f2.2 with 90 degrees field of view. Decent front-facing camera as well for selfies, which isn't too bad. 90 degrees of view is not the best. I wish it was a bit wider, but that's more than enough to get more than one person in if you need to take selfies with your partner or friends on the move. As far as the performance on the photography, the pictures come out great with high level of detail in both low light and bright light conditions. The ultra wide is on the softer side, so it's less detailed as you'd expect from this kind of sensor, but that doesn't mean you can't put this on social media comfortably without worrying about it. Colors are accurately represented, and the only time I probably wouldn't use this, the 15 Pro's camera, would be when you need to zoom past the optical range. The video supports 8K video recording at up to 30 frames per second. Absolute overkill, you don't need that on a device like this. You can even record in log format as well with the ability to import your LUTs or preview them in Rec 709. Powering all those cool features is the MediaTek Dimensity 9400 Plus. It's a 3nm process chip with Immortalis G952 MC12 GPU, and you combine that with up to 12GB of LPDDR5X memory, and you also get up to 1TB of UFS 4.1 storage, which seems to have now become the standard with this kind of storage system now. So you get all those really cool stuff, cool feature to make this nice and capable when it comes to gaming and all that kind of stuff. We even put it through some Geekbench scores as well, and it does not too shabby, and it's not too far behind in some areas when you compare it to some of the bigger players in the game when it comes to the processor. This translates into apps loading very quickly, multitasking is a breeze, and Although gaming works really well and it scores well on benchmark tools, however, it gets warm even with its cooling system. And as for the battery, it comes in at a modest 5,500 mAh, and I wish it was bigger, but it's still big enough to last you a whole day and a few hours the next day before you need to charge it, depending on your usage. And I was comfortably getting a whole day out of this with no issues at all and no stress of the battery running out by the end of the day. And of course, you can quickly charge this up thanks to that 90 watt hypercharge feature. So that's pretty much it for the Xiaomi 15T Pro. I think it's a very modest device. It's a mid-range at the end of the day, and it offers some decent performance out of that, all that they've given it. So it's pushing it, squeezing every ounce out of its performance to make sure that this works really well. And photography is good as well. You can even shoot log. So if you're someone who's a content creator and you don't want to spend a lot of money on some of these flagship devices that are out right now, this is definitely one to consider. Of course, there are competitors on the market like your Pixel, your Nothing phones and stuff like that, but this is tried and tested. They've been doing this for a while and it's still one of the best ones out there. So do check it out and consider this one as well. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.